Unexpected inheritance. The incessant buzzing of Jack Anderson's alarm clock pierced through his fitful sleep, dragging him back to consciousness. He groaned, fumbling for the snooze button before remembering he couldn't afford that luxury today. With a sigh, he hauled himself out of bed, wincing as his bare feet touched the cold floor of his tiny apartment. As he shuffled to the bathroom, Jack caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. Dark circles under his eyes, stubble on his chin, and a general air of exhaustion. Not exactly the picture of a brilliant engineer. But that's what he was, even if his current job at Dynatech Industries seemed determined to crush every last spark of creativity out of him. Jack splashed water on his face, trying to wake up fully. Today was the day of his big presentation, the culmination of months of work on a revolutionary new energy converter. If he could just get the higher-ups to listen, to see the potential in his design, maybe things would finally change. An hour later, Jack stood before the board of directors, his heart pounding as he explained the intricacies of his invention. He could see confusion in some eyes, skepticism in others. But there was also a glimmer of interest from a few, and that gave him hope. "Thank you, Mr. Anderson," the CEO said as Jack finished. "It's certainly an interesting concept. We'll take it under advisement." Jack's heart sank. He knew that tone, that polite dismissal. They didn't understand, or worse, they didn't care. As he packed up his materials, he overheard two executives talking. "Anderson's got some wild ideas, I'll give him that," one chuckled. "But we're not in the business of wild ideas. We need practical solutions, not pipe dreams." Jack clenched his fists, biting back the urge to argue. What was the point? They'd never listen. He trudged back to his cubicle, feeling defeated. As he slumped into his chair, his computer pinged with a new email notification. "Probably just another mindless task," Jack muttered, clicking it open without much enthusiasm. His eyes widened as he read the subject line, "URGNT, regarding the last will and testament of Zephiria of Zephiria." Jack blinked, sure he must be hallucinating. Zephiria? That was the name of an alien world, one of the first to make contact with Earth nearly a decade ago. And Zephiria, the name seemed vaguely familiar, but he couldn't place it. With trembling hands, he'd opened the email. "Dear Mr. Jack Anderson, we hope this message finds you well. Our firm, Galactic Estates and Trusts, has been entrusted with executing the last will and testament of the late Zephiria of Zephiria. We are pleased to inform you that you have been named as the primary beneficiary of Zephiria's considerable estate. As per Zephirian custom, the full details of your inheritance can only be disclosed in person. We kindly request your presence on Zephiria at your earliest convenience to proceed with the necessary legal formalities. Enclosed, you will find instructions for interstellar travel arrangements, which have been prepaid as part of your inheritance. Please note that time is of the essence, as Zephirian law requires the estate to be claimed within 30 Earth days of notification. We look forward to meeting you on Zephiria. Sincerely, Frixila Vex, Senior Partner, Galactic Estates and Trusts." Jack read the email 3 times, his mind reeling. This had to be a joke, right? Some elaborate prank. But as he examined the attached documents, complete with official-looking seals and complex legalese, a tiny spark of hope began to kindle in his chest. He racked his brain, trying to remember where he'd heard the name Zephiria before. Suddenly, it hit him. Years ago, when he was still in college, Jack had attended an international science symposium. There had been a Zephirian delegation there, and one of the alien scientists had taken a keen interest in Jack's theoretical work on energy conversion. They had spent hours discussing the potential applications, the Zephirian, Zephiria, Jack now realized, seeming genuinely impressed by the human's innovative thinking. Jack had almost forgotten about that encounter, caught up in the grind of daily life and the disappointments of his career. But apparently, Zephiria hadn't forgotten him. Jack's mind raced with possibilities. What kind of inheritance could an alien scientist leave? Knowledge, technology? And why him, of all people? He glanced around his drab cubicle, at the stacks of paperwork and the whiteboards filled with calculations that no one seemed to care about. What did he have to lose? With a sudden burst of energy, Jack stood up and marched to his supervisor's office. He knocked once, then entered without waiting for a response. "Mr. Carlson," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "I need to take an immediate leave of absence. Family emergency." His supervisor looked up, startled. "Anderson? What are you talking about? We're in the middle of a crucial project. You can't just..." Jack cut him off. "I'm sorry, but this is non-negotiable. I'll be gone for at least a month, possibly longer." "Now see here, Anderson," Carlson sputtered, his face reddening. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back. Your job won't be waiting for you." Jack paused for a moment, considering. Then, a slow smile spread across his face. "You know what? That suits me just fine." He pulled his employee badge from his pocket and tossed it on the desk. "I quit." Ignoring his former supervisor's shocked expression, Jack strode out of the office, head held high. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of exhilaration, of possibility. Whatever awaited him on Zephiria, it had to be better than the soul-crushing monotony he was leaving behind. As he stepped out of the Dynatech building into the bright sunlight, Jack took a deep breath. The air seemed fresher somehow, the colors more vibrant. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number he knew by heart. "Hey, Mom," he said when she answered. "You're not going to believe this, but I've got some big news." The next few days passed in a whirlwind of activity. Jack's mother, after getting over her initial shock and concern, helped him pack and prepare for his journey. His few close friends alternated between excitement for his adventure and worry about him traveling to an alien world. But Jack's mind was made up. He pored over the travel documents, marveling at the complex itinerary that would take him first to the new spaceport in Nevada, then to a massive orbital station, and finally onto a Zephirian starliner bound for their home world. The night before his departure, Jack stood on the balcony of his mother's house, gazing up at the stars. Somewhere out there was Zephiria, and whatever mysterious inheritance awaited him. He felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness, wondering what challenges he might face. "You've always had your head in the stars," his mother's voice came from behind him. She joined him on the balcony, wrapping an arm around his shoulders. "I guess now you're finally going to reach them." Jack smiled, leaning into her embrace. "I know this is crazy, Mom, but I have to do this. I have to know what's out there, what Zaxxilla saw in me that made him choose me for this." His mother nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I understand, sweetheart. Your father was the same way, always dreaming big, always reaching for the impossible." She squeezed his shoulder. "He would be so proud of you." They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars twinkle above. Finally, Jack's mother spoke again. "Promise me you'll be careful out there, and come back to visit your old mom sometimes, even if you end up living on some fancy alien world." Jack laughed, hugging her tightly. "I promise, Mom. No matter what happens, I'll always come back." The next morning, Jack stood at the entrance to the spaceport, his single suitcase in hand. The massive structure loomed before him, a testament to humanity's growing presence in the galactic community. Sleek shuttles and strange alien craft dotted the launch pads, a mix of the familiar and the utterly foreign. As he made his way through security and boarded the shuttle that would take him to the orbital station, Jack felt a surge of excitement. This was it, the beginning of his great adventure. Whatever lay ahead, he was determined to face it with courage and ingenuity. The shuttle lifted off smoothly, and Jack watched in awe as the Earth fell away beneath him. As the blue marble of his home world grew smaller and smaller, he couldn't help but feel that he was leaving behind more than just a planet. He was leaving behind a life of limitations and crushed dreams, venturing into a future full of infinite possibilities. Little did Jack know just how much his life was about to change, or the incredible challenges and wonders that awaited him among the stars. As the shuttle docked with the orbital station, The first step of his journey complete, Jack Anderson stood on the threshold of a new life, one that would test his courage, challenge his beliefs, and ultimately show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. Cosmic culture shock. Jack's heart raced as he stepped off the Zephirian starliner onto the alien world. The spaceport of Zephiria's capital city, Lumina, was a dizzying blend of advanced technology and organic architecture. Massive crystalline structures spiraled into the lavender sky, their surfaces shimmering with what appeared to be living light. "Welcome to Zephiria, Terran," a melodious voice chimed. Jack turned to see a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes. "I am Vexara, your assigned cultural liaison. Please follow me for decontamination and orientation." As they walked, Jack's eyes darted everywhere, trying to take in the incredible sights. Hovering vehicles zipped by on invisible lanes, while beings of all shapes and sizes bustled about their business. Some were vaguely humanoid, others defied description entirely. "First time off-world jitters?" Vexara asked, a hint of amusement in their voice. Jack nodded, grinning sheepishly. "Is it that obvious?" "Your elevated heart rate and dilated pupils are rather telling," Vexara replied. "Not to mention the way you're gawking at everything like a newborn stellar calf." They entered a sleek building, where Jack was ushered through a series of chambers filled with soft, pulsating lights and gentle mists. When he emerged, he felt refreshed and oddly tingly all over. "Decontamination complete," Vexara announced. "Now, let's get you properly attired. Can't have you walking around Lumina in those primitive Earth clothes." Before Jack could protest that his jeans and t-shirt were perfectly fine, "Thank you very much," he found himself whisked into a chamber where beams of light danced over his body. In seconds, his Earth clothes had been replaced by a form-fitting suit that seemed to shift colors with his movements. "Whoa," Jack breathed, examining his new outfit. "This is incredible. What's it made of?" "Adaptive nanomaterials," Vexara explained. "It will regulate your temperature, protect you from harmful radiation, and automatically adjust to local customs as we travel. Now, are you ready to meet with the executors of Zaxxala's will?" Jack took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. "As ready as I'll ever be." They exited the spaceport and stepped onto a bustling street. Jack gasped as he saw the full majesty of Lumina spread out before him. The city was a masterpiece of organic technology, with buildings that seemed to grow from the very ground, their surfaces alive with bioluminescent patterns. Floating gardens drifted between the spires, filled with alien flora in a riot of colors. "This is beyond anything I could have imagined," Jack murmured, awestruck. Vexara led him to a sleek, bubble-like vehicle that hovered a few feet off the ground. As they settled into the surprisingly comfortable interior, the vehicle took off smoothly, joining the flow of traffic. "So, Vexara," Jack began, tearing his eyes away from the spectacular view, "can you tell me anything about my inheritance? Or about Zaxxala?" The Zephirian's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with something like amusement. "I'm afraid the details of your inheritance are strictly confidential until the official reading of the will. As for Zaxxala, he was a brilliant scientist and a bit of an eccentric by our standards. He was fascinated by other species, especially humans." Jack nodded, remembering his brief encounter with Zaxxala years ago. He seemed really interested in my ideas about energy conversion. "Ah yes, your theoretical work," Vexara said. "It caused quite a stir in some circles here on Zephiria. Zaxxala always maintained that humans had untapped potential that could revolutionize galactic science." Before Jack could ask more, the vehicle came to a stop outside a towering structure that looked like a cross between a giant crystal and a living tree. "We have arrived at the Hall of Cosmic Jurisprudence," Vexara announced. As they entered the building, Jack felt a wave of nervousness wash over him. What if this was all some cosmic mistake? What if his inheritance turned out to be worthless, or worse, some kind of practical joke? They were led to a grand chamber where 3 elderly Zephirians sat behind a crescent-shaped desk. Their skin had a translucent quality, and their eyes glowed with an inner light that spoke of deep wisdom. Jackson Anderson of Earth, one of them intoned, their voice reverberating with unexpected power. "We welcome you to Zephiria. Are you prepared to receive your inheritance?" Jack swallowed hard, then nodded. "I am." The central figure raised a hand, and a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room. An image of Zephiria appeared, his tentacle-like appendages waving in greeting. "Greetings, Jack Anderson," the recording began. "If you are seeing this, then I have passed beyond the veil of this existence. But fear not, for death is merely a transition in the great cosmic dance." Jack listened, transfixed, as Zephiria explained his reasons for choosing him as his heir. The Zephirian spoke of seeing a spark of genius in Jack, a unique perspective that could bridge the gap between human and Zephirian science. "To you, Jack Anderson, I leave my entire estate," Zephyria's image proclaimed. "This includes my personal laboratory, my fleet of research vessels, and my vast collection of scientific data from across the galaxy." Jack's jaw dropped. A laboratory, spaceships, this was beyond his wildest dreams. "But that is not all," Zephiria continued, a mischievous twinkle in his alien eyes. "As per Zephirian custom, I've also arranged a marriage contract for you to help solidify your position in our society." "Wait, what?" Jack sputtered, looking frantically at Zephiria. "Marriage contract." The hologram flickered, and a new image appeared beside Zephiria. It was a female Zephirian, her iridescent skin shimmering with patterns of light that seemed to dance like starlight. Despite her alien features, there was something hauntingly beautiful about her. "Jack Anderson, meet Lyra Zinn," Zephyria's recording said. "My granddaughter and your betrothed." As the implications of this bombshell sank in, Jack felt the room spin around him. He had come to Zephiria expecting an inheritance, maybe some advanced technology. Instead, he had gotten spaceships, a laboratory, and an alien fiancé. "Well," he said weakly, looking at the stunned faces around him, "I guess this is what they call a cosmic culture shock." Little did Jack know that this unexpected twist was just the beginning of an adventure that would challenge everything he thought he knew about science, love, and what it means to be human in a vast and wondrous universe. Starbound soulmates. Jack's mind reeled as he stared at the holographic image of Lyra Zinn, his alien betrothed. Her luminescent skin pulsed with mesmerizing patterns, and her eyes, all four of them, sparkled with an intelligence that both intrigued and intimidated him. This has to be a mistake," Jack stammered, looking frantically between Zephiria and the Zephirian elders. "I can't marry someone I've never met, especially not an alien." The central elder raised a hand, silencing Jack's protests. "The union of species is a sacred tradition on Zephiria, Tehran. It symbolizes the cosmic harmony we strive for." "But," Jack began, only to be cut off by a new voice, melodious yet firm. "Perhaps we should ask the Terran if he's even worthy of such an honor." All heads turned as Lyra Zinn herself strode into the chamber. In person, she was even more striking than her hologram. She moved with a fluid grace that seemed to defy gravity, and the light patterns on her skin shifted in response to her emotions. "Lyra Zinn," one of the elders admonished, "this is most irregular." She ignored them, focusing her quadruple gaze on Jack. "So you're the brilliant human my grandfather was so enamored with. I expected someone taller." Jack bristled at her tone. "Well, I expected my inheritance to be a lab and some cool tech, not an arranged marriage with a glow-in-the-dark squid person. Guess we're both disappointed." Gasps echoed through the chamber at his audacity. Lyra Zinn's skin flashed with patterns Jack instinctively knew meant anger. "How dare you," she hissed. "I am a xenobiologist of the highest order, not some bioluminescent cephalopod." "Enough," the central elder boomed. "It is clear that you two have much to learn about each other. As per Zephirian law, you will undergo the trials of cosmic harmony." "The what now?" Jack asked, a sense of dread growing in his stomach. Vexara leaned in, whispering, "It's a series of challenges designed to test compatibility between potential mates, usually reserved for Zephirian couples, but in your case—" "Great," Jack muttered. "Space marriage counseling, just what I always wanted." The elders waved their hands, and suddenly the floor beneath Jack and Lyrazin began to glow. Before either could react, they were enveloped in a bubble of energy that lifted them off the ground. "Your first trial begins now," the elder announced. "You will be transported to the maze of minds, where you must learn to work together or face the consequences." With a flash of light, Jack and Lyrazin vanished from the chamber, reappearing in a vast, shimmering labyrinth that seemed to be made of pure thought. "Well, this is just perfect," Jack grumbled, trying to get his bearings in the mind-bending environment. "Any ideas, Tentacle Girl?" Lyrazin's skin rippled with annoyance. "First, Terran, my name is Lyrazin. Second, if you bothered to observe instead of complain, you'd notice the psychic resonance patterns indicating the correct path." Jack blinked, focusing on the walls around them. To his surprise, he began to see faint patterns pulsing in the fabric of the maze. That's actually pretty cool. Your primitive brain can perceive them," Lyrazin asked, genuine surprise in her voice. Perhaps grandfather wasn't entirely misguided in his assessment of you. As they navigated the twisting corridors of the maze, Jack found himself begrudgingly impressed by Lyrazin's intelligence and problem-solving skills. For her part, Lyrazin seemed surprised by Jack's intuitive leaps and out-of-the-box thinking. "You know," Jack said as they paused at a particularly tricky intersection, "back on Earth, I designed an energy converter that could revolutionize power distribution, but no one would listen to me." Lyrazin's eyes narrowed in thought. "Interesting. On Zephiria, we've been struggling with energy inefficiencies in our long-range teleportation systems. Perhaps your fresh perspective cooled." She was cut off as the maze suddenly shifted, walls closing in around them. Acting on instinct, Jack grabbed Lyrazin's hand, or what passed for a hand on her alien physiology. The moment they touched, a surge of energy pulsed between them, and the maze walls retreated. "Whoa," Jack breathed, staring at their still-joined appendages. "Did you feel that?" Lyrazin nodded, her skin shimmering with a pattern Jack hadn't seen before. "Was that wonder? It seems our bioelectric fields are surprisingly compatible. Fascinating." As they continued through the maze, now working in tandem, Jack found himself opening up about his frustrations on Earth, his dreams of making a difference. To his surprise, Lyrazin shared similar feelings of being underestimated and constrained by her society's expectations. "You know," Jack said as they neared what appeared to be the exit, "maybe this whole arranged marriage thing isn't the worst idea after all. I mean, we do make a pretty good team." Lyrazin's skin flushed with a soft, warm light. "Perhaps you're not entirely insufferable, Jack Anderson." Just as they were about to step through the exit, the maze dissolved around them, and they found themselves back in the hall of cosmic jurisprudence. The elders looked on with approval. "You have passed the first trial," the central elder announced. "But there are more challenges ahead. Are you prepared to continue on this journey together?" Jack looked at Lyrazin, seeing her in a new light. She met his gaze, all four of her eyes twinkling with a mix of challenge and intrigue. In that moment, he realized that his life had changed irrevocably, and maybe, just maybe, for the better. "Bring it on," Jack said with a grin. "We're ready for whatever the cosmos has in store for us." Lyrazin's skin pulsed with agreement. "Indeed, it seems the universe has plans for us, Jack Anderson. Let us see where they lead." As they prepared for their next trial, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. He had come to Zephiria seeking an inheritance, but he was beginning to realize that the greatest gift Zaxxlar had left him was the opportunity for an adventure beyond his wildest dreams, with a partner who just might be his perfect cosmic match. Little did they know that their budding partnership would soon be put to the ultimate test, as forces beyond their understanding conspired to challenge not just their relationship, but the very fate of both their worlds. Galactic conspiracy unveiled. The gleaming spires of Zaxxil's private research facility stretched towards Zephiria's lavender sky, a testament to the brilliant scientist's legacy. Jack and Lyra Zing stood at the entrance, their recent trials having forged an uneasy alliance between them. Ready to uncover some mind-blowing alien tech, Jack grinned, his excitement palpable. Lyra Zing's skin rippled with a pattern that Jack was learning to interpret as amused exasperation. Try not to drool on the quantum computers, Terran. As they stepped inside, holographic displays flickered to life, filling the air with swirling data and complex equations. Jack's eyes widened as he took in the sheer scale of Zaxxil's work. "This is incredible," he breathed. "Look at these energy conversion formulas. They're light years beyond anything we have on Earth." Lyra Zing nodded, her four eyes scanning the information rapidly. Grandfather's work was always ahead of its time, but something seems off. Before Jack could ask what she meant, a hidden door slid open, revealing a secret chamber. Inside, they found a holographic message waiting for them, Zaxxil's image flickering to life. "If you're seeing this," the recording began, "then my worst fears have come to pass. Jack, Lyra Zing, you must listen carefully. There is a conspiracy at the highest levels of both Zephirian and Earth governments. They seek to suppress my research, fearing its potential to upset the balance of power in the galaxy." Jack and Lyra Zing exchanged shocked glances as Zaxxil continued, detailing a sinister plot involving energy manipulation on a cosmic scale. "But why arrange our marriage?" Lyra Zing asked the hologram, forgetting for a moment that it couldn't respond. As if anticipating the question, Zaxxil's image smiled. "Your union is the key. The combination of Zephirian intuition and human ingenuity is the only hope of completing my work and exposing the truth." The hologram faded, leaving Jack and Lyra Zing in stunned silence. "Well," Jack said finally, "I guess our honeymoon is going to be more exciting than we thought." Lyra Zing's skin pulsed with determination. "We need to access the mainframe. If we can decrypt Grandfather's files, we might find proof of this conspiracy." As they worked, Jack marveled at how seamlessly they complemented each other. His out-of-the-box thinking paired perfectly with Lyra Zing's vast knowledge of Zephirian systems. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. "Intruder alert," an AI voice announced. "Security protocols engaged." "That's impossible," Lyra Zing hissed. "This facility is top secret. Unless the conspirators know we're here," Jack finished grimly. The main doors burst open, and a squad of what Jack could only describe as cyber-enhanced Zephirian commandos stormed in, led by a familiar face. "Zephiria," Jack gasped. "You're part of this." Their former liaison smiled coldly. "Did you really think we'd let two wildcards like you upset decades of careful planning? The galaxy isn't ready for the power Zaxxil discovered." "That's not your decision to make," Lyra Zing snarled, her skin flashing with patterns of defiance. As the commandos advanced, Jack's mind raced. His eyes landed on a piece of equipment in the corner, one of Zaxxil's experimental prototypes. "Lyra, remember that energy converter I told you about?" he whispered urgently. "I have an idea, but I need you to trust me." She met his gaze, all four eyes blazing with determination. "What do you need?" "Buy me 2 minutes," Jack said, already dashing towards the prototype. Lyra Zing turned to face the advancing threat, her body beginning to glow with an intense bioluminescence. "You want a light show, Zephiria? I'll give you one you'll never forget." As Lyra Zing unleashed a dazzling display of psychedelic lights, momentarily disorienting their attackers, Jack worked feverishly to modify the energy converter. He could hear the sounds of struggle behind him, knew that Lyra Zing couldn't hold them off forever. Come on," he muttered, making the final adjustments. "Work, damn you." Just as Zephiria broke through Lyra Zing's defenses, Jack slammed the activation switch. The device hummed to life, emitting a pulse of energy that rippled through the room. The cyber commandos froze in place, their enhanced systems overloaded. "What did you do?" Lyrazin asked, breathless. Jack grinned, adrenaline coursing through him. "Reverse the polarity of their neural interfaces. They'll be rebooting for hours." Vexara, unaffected by the pulse, snarled in frustration. "This changes nothing. You'll never make it off-world with that data." "Want to bet?" Jack challenged. He grabbed Lyrazin's hand, feeling that now familiar surge of energy between them. "Lyra, remember the teleportation problem you mentioned? I think I just solved it." Understanding dawned in Lyrazin's eyes. Together, they reached for the modified converter. As Vexara lunged towards them, they activated the device. In a blinding flash of light, Jack and Lyrazin vanished, leaving behind a group of stunned conspirators and a laboratory full of world-changing secrets. They rematerialized on the outskirts of Lumina, the city's crystalline spires glittering in the distance. "That was incredible," Lyrazin breathed, her skin pulsing with excitement. "How did you know it would work?" Jack shrugged, a lopsided grin on his face. "I didn't. But I figured with your biological energy and my theoretical knowledge, we had a shot." Lyrazin's laughter was like chiming crystals. "You're either a genius or a madman, Jack Anderson." "Why can't I be both?" he quipped. As the gravity of their situation settled in, they knew their adventure was far from over. With proof of a galactic conspiracy in their possession and powerful enemies on both their worlds, Jack and Lyrazin faced an uncertain future. But as they looked at each other, human and Zephirian, bound together by fate and newfound trust, they knew one thing for certain: whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. "So," Jack said, his eyes twinkling with the promise of adventure, "ready to save the galaxy, Mrs. Anderson?" Lyrazin's skin shimmered with a pattern that Jack now recognized as affection. "Lead the way, Mr. Zinn." Hand in hand, the unlikely couple set off towards their next cosmic challenge, their union a testament to the power of love, science, and the indomitable human spirit in the face of a vast and wondrous universe. Quantum entangled hearts. The neon-drenched underbelly of Lumina's lower districts pulsed with a frenetic energy as Jack and Lyrazin weaved through throngs of diverse alien life forms. Their stolen data cube, containing proof of the galactic conspiracy, felt heavy in Jack's pocket. "We need to get this information to someone we can trust," Jack muttered, his eyes darting nervously. Lyrazin's skin rippled with a pattern of agreement. "I know just the person. An old mentor of mine who always questioned the Zephirian Council's decisions. But reaching her won't be easy." As they turned a corner, they nearly collided with a hulking, multi-armed alien. Jack's heart sank as he recognized the insignia on its armor: Galactic Peacekeepers. "Halt, fugitives!" The peacekeeper growled, its translator struggling with the guttural language. "Run!" Jack yelled, grabbing Lyrazin's hand. They sprinted through winding alleys, Jack's human agility complementing Lyrazin's Zephirian grace. As they ran, Jack's mind raced. They needed a distraction, something to throw off their pursuers. Suddenly, inspiration struck. "Lyra, your bioluminescence. Can you create a large-scale illusion?" Understanding flashed in her 4 eyes. "Yes, but it will drain me significantly." "Do it," Jack urged as they rounded another corner. Lyrazin's skin began to pulse with increasing intensity. Suddenly, the air around them shimmered, and dozens of illusory copies of Jack and Lyrazin scattered in all directions. The peacekeepers skidded to a halt, confused by the sudden multiplication of their quarry. Jack and Lyrazin used the moment of chaos to slip into a hidden alcove. As the sounds of pursuit faded, Lyrazin sagged against Jack, her skin dim with exhaustion. That was more difficult than anticipated. Jack supported her, concern etched on his face. "You okay? That was amazing, by the way. Remind me never to play hide-and-seek with you." Lyrazin's skin flickered with weak amusement. "Your human humor is strangely comforting." As they caught their breath, Jack became acutely aware of their close proximity. Lorozin's alien features, once so strange to him, now held a captivating beauty. Her 4 eyes met his 2, and a charge seemed to pass between them, more intense than any they'd experienced before. "Jack," Lorozin whispered, her voice taking on a melodic quality he'd never heard before, "I believe I'm experiencing a physiological response to your presence that goes beyond our bioelectric compatibility." Jack couldn't help but grin. "Are you saying you're falling for me, Starshine?" Before Lorozin could respond, the wall behind them slid open, revealing a hidden passage. An elderly Zephirian with translucent skin beckoned to them urgently. "Quickly, young ones. The peacekeepers will not be fooled for long." Exchanging a glance, Jack and Lorozin followed their mysterious savior into the passage. As the walls sealed behind them, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that their adventure was about to take an even more unexpected turn. The hidden passage led them to a secret laboratory that put even Zaxxil's facility to shame. Holographic displays danced with complex equations, and strange devices hummed with barely contained energy. Their rescuer turned to face them, her ancient eyes twinkling with wisdom and mischief. "Welcome, Jack Anderson and Lorozin. I am Dr. Voxlua, and I've been expecting you." "You have?" Jack asked, bewildered. Dr. Voxlua smiled enigmatically. "Zaxxil and our old friends. He informed me of his plans for you too, though I doubt even he foresaw the full extent of your potential." Lorozin stepped forward, her skin pulsing with recognition. "Professor, you were the one who first encouraged my interest in xenobiology. But why are you hiding down here?" "Because, my dear, I too have been working to uncover the conspiracy that threatens our worlds," Dr. Voxlua replied. "But we haven't much time. The data you carry is only part of the puzzle." She led them to a central console, activating a holographic display that showed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. What Zaxxil discovered goes beyond mere energy manipulation. It's about the very fabric of spacetime itself. Jack leaned in, his scientific curiosity piqued. "What do you mean?" "The conspiracy seeks to control a network of quantum entanglement nodes spread throughout the galaxy," Dr. Voxlua explained. "With it, they could instantaneously communicate and potentially even transport matter across vast distances. That kind of power could reshape the balance of the entire universe," Lorozin gasped. Dr. Voxlua nodded grimly. "Precisely, and they're closer to achieving their goal than we feared. But you too, your unique bond might be the key to stopping them." "Our bond?" Jack asked, glancing at Lorozin. "The bioelectric connection you share is more than just compatibility," Dr. Voxlua said. "It's a form of naturally occurring quantum entanglement, something that should be impossible between 2 different species." Jack and Lorozin looked at each other, a new understanding passing between them. The strange connection they felt, the way they complemented each other so perfectly, it all suddenly made sense. "So, what do we need to do?" Jack asked, determination setting in. Dr. Voxlua's expression turned grave. "We need to strengthen your entanglement and use it to disrupt the conspiracy's network. But the process is dangerous and untested. It could destroy you both." Lorozin's skin pulsed with a pattern Jack now recognized as resolve. "If it means saving our worlds and preserving the freedom of the galaxy, I'm willing to take that risk." Jack nodded, reaching out to take Lorozin's hand. The now familiar surge of energy between them seemed to hum with newfound potential. "Me too. Whatever it takes, we'll face it together." Dr. Voxlua smiled, a hint of sadness in her ancient eyes. "Very well. Let us begin the preparations. The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands and hearts." As they followed Dr. Voxlua deeper into the lab, Jack couldn't help but marvel at the twist his life had taken. A month ago, he was a frustrated engineer on Earth. Now, he was quantum entangled with an alien beauty, preparing to take on the galactic conspiracy. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Jack knew one thing for certain: with Lorozin by his side, There was no force in the universe they couldn't overcome. Little did they know that their greatest test was yet to come, one that would push their newfound bond to its very limits and challenge everything they thought they knew about love, sacrifice, and the true nature of the cosmos. Cosmic convergence. The heart of Dr. Voxlua's secret laboratory pulsed with an otherworldly energy as Jack and Lyrazine stood before a massive, swirling vortex of light. The quantum harmonic chamber, as Dr. Voxlua called it, was their best hope of disrupting the conspiracy's galactic network. Remember, Dr. Voxlua cautioned, her translucent skin shimmering with concern, once you enter the chamber, your consciousnesses will merge with the quantum fabric of the universe. You must focus on your connection to each other, or risk being lost in the infinite possibilities of spacetime. Jack took a deep breath, glancing at Lyrazine. Her 4 eyes met his, conveying a mix of determination and something deeper, an emotion that transcended their biological differences. Ready to rewrite the laws of physics, Starshine? Jack quipped, masking his nervousness with humor. Lyrazine's skin rippled with a pattern he now recognized as affectionate exasperation. With you, Jack Anderson, I'm beginning to believe anything is possible. Hand in hand, they stepped into the swirling vortex. The world around them dissolved into a cacophony of light and sensation. Jack felt his consciousness expand, merging with Lyrazine's in a way that defied description. They were everywhere and everywhere at once, witness to the birth and death of stars, the collision of galaxies, the very pulse of the cosmos itself. Through it all, the connection anchored them, a beacon in the infinite sea of quantum possibilities. Jack marveled at the complexity of Lyrazine's mind, the depth of her emotions, the beauty of her alien perspective. In turn, Lyrazine experienced the vibrant chaos of Jack's thoughts, his boundless creativity, his uniquely human capacity for hope in the face of overwhelming odds. As their minds intertwined, they became aware of the conspiracy's network, a web of dark energy stretching across the galaxy, manipulating the very fabric of spacetime. With their combined will, they began to unravel it, their quantum-entangled consciousness spreading like a wave of cosmic harmony. But the conspiracy fought back. Sinister tendrils of corrupted energy lashed out, threatening to tear Jack and Lyrazine apart. In that moment of crisis, their bond was tested to its very limit. Jack, Lyrazine's voice echoed through the quantum realm. I can't. I'm losing myself. Panic gripped Jack as he felt Lyrazine's consciousness starting to fade. No, he couldn't lose her, not now, not after everything they'd been through. In a desperate act of will, he poured every ounce of his being into their connection. Suddenly, something extraordinary happened. The love Jack felt for Lyrazine, a love that had grown from reluctant partnership to deep, soul-binding affection, manifested as a burst of pure energy. It radiated outward, shattering the conspiracy's dark tendrils and illuminating the quantum realm with a light brighter than 1,000 suns. In that moment of cosmic convergence, Jack and Lyrazine's consciousnesses fully merged, transcending the boundaries of their individual species. They became something new, something the universe had never seen before, a hybrid consciousness that embodied the best of both human and Zephirian. With this newfound power, they swept through the galaxy, dismantling the conspiracy's network with ease. They rewrote the quantum laws that the conspirators had sought to exploit, ensuring that such power could never again fall into the wrong hands. As the last traces of the dark network faded, Jack and Lyrazine found themselves drifting in a sea of infinite possibility. They could reshape reality itself if they wanted, become gods among mortals. But as tempting as that power was, they both knew it wasn't right. With a shared thought, they began to withdraw from the quantum realm, their separate consciousnesses gradually reforming. In a flash of blinding light, Jack and Lyrazine stumbled out of the quantum harmonic chamber, collapsing into each other's arms. Dr. Voxlua rushed to their side, her ancient eyes wide with wonder. By the cosmic veil, she breathed, you've done it. The conspiracy's network is destroyed, and something more. You've changed the very nature of quantum entanglement itself. As Jack and Lyrazin struggled to readjust to their individual forms, they realized that their connection hadn't diminished. If anything, it had grown stronger, a constant low-level hum of shared consciousness linking them in a way that defied scientific explanation. What happened to us? Jack asked, his voice hoarse. Dr. Voxlua's skin pulsed with patterns of amazement and joy. You've become something entirely new, my dears. A bridge between species, a living embodiment of cosmic harmony. Lyrazin's 4 eyes met Jack's 2, and a wordless understanding passed between them. What they had experienced, what they had become, was beyond anything they could have imagined. So, Jack said with a weak grin, I guess this means the wedding's still on. Lyrazin's laughter was like music, reverberating through their shared connection. Oh, Jack Anderson, I believe we're far beyond mere marriage now. We're quantum soulmates. As news of their achievements spread across the galaxy, Jack and Lyrazin found themselves hailed as heroes. The fall of the conspiracy ushered in a new era of cooperation between species, with Earth and Zephiria leading the way in a grand cosmic alliance. But for Jack and Lyrazin, the greatest adventure was just beginning. With their unique bond and combined knowledge, they set out to explore the farthest reaches of the universe, unlocking secrets that would revolutionize science and push the boundaries of what was thought possible. As their ship, fittingly named the Starbound Soulmate, prepared to jump to hyperspace, Jack turned to Lyrazin, marveling at how far they'd come from their initial reluctant meeting. You know, he said, a mischievous glint in his eye, when I inherited you as my alien bride, I never imagined it would lead to all this. Lyrazin's skin shimmered with love and excitement for the journey ahead. My dear Jack, I believe this is one inheritance that will keep on giving for eternity. With a shared laugh and a surge of quantum-entangled joy, they launched into the stars, ready to write the next chapter in their cosmic love story. Echoes of eternity. The starbound soulmate glided through the kaleidoscopic wonders of the quantum slipstream, a realm of reality where the laws of physics bent and twisted like taffy. At the helm, Jack and Lyrazin guided their vessel with a synchronicity that bordered on the supernatural, their quantum-entangled minds working in perfect harmony. Interdimensional anomaly detected, Lyrazin announced, her 4 eyes scanning the holographic readouts. It's like nothing we've ever encountered before. Jack grinned, the thrill of discovery lighting up his face. Well, Mrs. Quantum's soulmate, shall we take a closer look? As they steered towards the anomaly, neither could have predicted the mind-bending adventure that awaited them. The anomaly, a swirling vortex of impossible colors, suddenly expanded, engulfing the starbound soulmate before they could react. Jack and Lyrazin found themselves hurtling through a tunnel of fractalized reality, their very atoms seeming to unravel and reweave with each passing nanosecond. When the chaos finally subsided, they found themselves in a realm that defied description. Floating islands of crystalline thought drifted through an atmosphere of pure possibility. Beams of pure energy danced in complex patterns, their movements altering the very fabric of reality. Welcome, quantum bridges, a voice that wasn't a voice echoed in their minds. A being materialized before them, its form constantly shifting between humanoid, Zephirian, and shapes beyond comprehension. I am the overseer of this realm, the entity continued. We have long awaited the arrival of one such as you. Jack and Lyrazin exchanged a glance, their shared consciousness buzzing with a mix of awe and trepidation. What is this place? Lyrazin asked, her skin pulsing with patterns of curiosity and wonder. The overseer's form rippled. This is the nexus of all realities, the crossroads of every possible universe. And you, dear hybrids, are the key to saving it all. The overseer explained that the multiverse was facing a crisis. The walls between realities were weakening, threatening to collapse all of existence into a singularity of chaos. The quantum entanglement that Jack and Lyrazin shared was the missing link needed to stabilize the cosmic architecture. But be warned, the overseer cautioned, the process will challenge you in ways you cannot imagine. You will face echoes of yourselves from across the multiverse, confront roads not taken and lives unlived. Are you prepared for such a trial? Jack squeezed Lerazin's hand, feeling the surge of their connection. Together, we can face anything. Lerazin's skin shimmered with agreement. Our love transcends the boundaries of species and reality itself. We accept this challenge. With a gesture from the overseer, Jack and Lerazin were thrust into a whirlwind of alternate realities. They witnessed versions of themselves in countless variations. A reality where Jack was a Zephirian scientist and Lerazin a human explorer. A dystopian world where they led a rebellion against a tyrannical galactic empire. A peaceful universe where their union had ushered in an era of unprecedented cooperation between all species. With each reality they visited, Jack and Lerazin absorbed the experiences and emotions of their alternate selves, their quantum bond growing stronger and more complex. But the journey was not without peril. In one dark reality, they encountered versions of themselves corrupted by power, seeking to dominate the multiverse. The ensuing battle of wills threatened to tear their quantum entanglement apart. Jack, Lerazin cried out, her consciousness starting to fracture under the strain. I can't. I'm losing myself in the possibilities. Drawing upon the deep well of love and trust they built, Jack reached out across the quantum divide. Focus on my voice, starshine. Remember who we are, what we've been through. Our love is the constant in every universe. Their consciousnesses rezinched, stronger than ever. Together, they overcame their dark counterparts, reaffirming their commitment to using their power for the good of all realities. As they traversed the final layers of the multiverse, Jack and Lerazin's quantum entanglement reached a new level of harmony. They became living conduits of cosmic balance, their very existence reinforcing the walls between realities. With a final, reality-shaking effort, they sealed the breaches in the cosmic architecture. The multiverse stabilized, infinite realities saved from collapse. They found themselves back in the Nexus, the overseer regarding them with what could only be described as multidimensional pride. You have succeeded beyond our wildest hopes, the entity proclaimed. The echoes of your love and sacrifice will resonate throughout eternity, a beacon of hope for all sentient beings across every reality. As a reward for their service, the overseer granted Jack and Lerazin a gift, the ability to traverse the multiverse at will, to continue their explorations and serve as guardians of cosmic harmony. Back aboard the starbound soulmate, Jack and Lerazin marveled at their expanded consciousness and the infinite possibilities that lay before them. So, my quantum queen, Jack said with a grin, where should we go next? We've got all of reality to choose from. Lerazin's skin rippled with patterns of love and excitement. My darling interdimensional explorer, I believe our greatest adventure is just beginning. As they set course for new cosmic horizons, Jack and Lerazin knew that their love story would echo across the tapestry of the multiverse for eons to come. They had transcended the boundaries of species, space, and reality itself, becoming living proof that love truly is the most powerful force in any universe. The starbound soulmate vanished in a burst of quantum energy, leaving behind a trail of stardust and infinite possibilities. And somewhere in the grand cosmic dance, the spirits of Zephiria and Dr. Voxlua smiled, knowing that their legacy had blossomed into something far greater than they could have ever imagined.